What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig. Let's go over the charts. Let's see what's going on. Could Bitcoin hit new lows this year? I do think so. I've been saying that for over a year. Let's take a look at the charts, see what they're telling us. As you guys know, the Dow, the next point for a bounce I'm looking for is around 32.2, somewhere in this range, which would be the one-to-one extension. Obviously, we would most likely get a bounce there. Now, could that be the bottom there and then it goes up? Well, until we break this top trend line, you know I'm bearish on traditional markets. I think we have much lower to go. We have plenty of bounces that'll come in the meantime, but overall, markets are very bearish in the macro. They have not changed. So, like I said, watch for this 32.2 range for a good bounce. Maybe get back up into the 33,000, then come back down. Now, this will happen over the course of a few weeks, most likely. But if we do break this 31.2, your next line of support is going to be around, well, you'll have a little bit at 31.6, but then you have 30,800 points right in that range for a bounce. So let's take a look at the DXY. DXY is bullish. We've been bullish on the DXY. Remember back here when I pointed these out, these are three white soldiers. You have this big green candle here, then you have a big green candle here, big green candle here, not a lot of wicks on them. That is bullish. That is a trend reversal. What confirms that is it was at the bottom of the trend. We talked about it and I've been bullish on it since. I think we go much higher for the dollar. Our next point for, and this could be weeks, even, you know, a month or more before we get here, but 108.50 is my next area of resistance. We may get another little pullback there, but I do think we will continue up with the DXY. Now, as you guys know, on the weekly, we were watching for confirmation of this hidden bearish divergence, which we did get. We got our monthly, I'm sorry, this is a monthly chart. We got our monthly close below 23,327. We talked about that all month, and I told you you could expect a wick as long as it doesn't break this prior wicks high at 25,362. I think we have much more downside. We'll most likely break back inside this channel, but if this channel holds, remember there's always a possibility could go up to 31.5, but as of now everything is still looking bearish. Like I said, I think this is confirmed, especially if this month closes lower. So keep an eye on that. Looking at the weekly, same thing. You can see this huge bearish divergence, lower highs, higher highs in the RSI. Also, if we zoom in on the smaller portion of it, we had higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the RSI. That is bearish divergence. Now, bearish divergence in an uptrend is a reversal. Hidden bearish in a downtrend is bearish. We're having them both right here, so be cautious, be careful. We are in between all the EMAs here, the AEMA lying around 22.5. and the 200 EMA is around 24.8. Now, remember, I had been saying, and I still stick to it since December 2nd, 2021, when I made all of this call, that 25.8, which is the 55 EMA, it's actually lower than that. It's about 25.4, but I would need to see a weekly candle open and close above 25.8 before I even consider the bottom being in here, which I do not think it is. I do think we see lower lows this year. All right, let's get into, before we get into the smaller time frames, check out Prime XBT, my sponsor. Definitely the best exchange out there, in my opinion. You can trade traditional markets, crypto, Forex, gold, silver, oil, S&P, Dow Jones, everything all from one exchange. You can use my promo code SAVVY50. That'll get you up to a $7,000 bonus. SAVVY25 will get you 25% off your fees. Links down below. Definitely check it out. I also have my other trusted links down there, my wife's webpage, things like that. And stick around to the end because we're going to look at our Binance chart and why I think Binance is in serious trouble. We've been talking about it for months and months, and we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. But let's take a look at the daily. We're breaking below the 21 EMA here. As you guys know, now looking on the daily, this is the point to look for a decent bounce here, 22,380, which will also line up with the 55 EMA. If we break below that, then we have looking at this rising broadening wedge, which we'll look at in the 4-hour. Remember, here's the bullish case. If we remain above this 23.3, which I don't think we are going to, 31.5 is the bullish case. If it does get up to this range and get above, then I would definitely consider the bottom being in for sure. But I would have to see a weekly open and close before I even consider it. If I do see a weekly open and close above this 25.8, I may put in a long to 31.5. Again, I don't think that's happening. To be clear, I am still very bearish. If we break these lower trend lines here, then my next point of a bounce is about 18,000. If we break 18,000, I'm looking for around 13.3-ish, depending on if, when, and where it hits this bottom trend line. And when that breaks, my false bottom around 75 to 9,500. And then, of course, a big rally from there. And sometime in September, October, I've been talking, that is the call I made back in December on the 2nd in 2021. Everyone called me crazy up there, but I still think we have a very good possibility hitting this 35 to 4,500 bucks. September or October, you can look back at my video. I'll leave it up at the top of this video at the end. You can check it out. That's what I said back then. I still stick to it. Now, everybody always talks about, we'll talk about the 4 hour here in a minute. Everyone's always talking about, you know, when the whole crowd thinks something is going to happen, it usually does not. Well, everybody is convinced that the 4-year cycle will bring new all-time highs every time. Everyone is convinced. I am not. I think that everyone is going to get a very big surprise in the coming years. So just be careful. I'm not saying I don't believe in Bitcoin. I do. And I think in the long run, very long run, Bitcoin will do well, but I think we have lower lows coming. So here's the 4 hour. Our target for this breakdown of this rising wedge, or, you know, triangle, whatever you want to call this. Once we broke down, we put this target in around 22,250, right? Now, I told you watch for a bounce. If you guys watched my collaborate videos yesterday, we talked about getting a bounce here. I never moved this target. 32,212. That's exactly where we bounced right now. Does that mean it holds? No. Of course, we're going to bounce here on this trend line. It's been significant support and resistance this whole time. Once we break below this, let's move this over a little bit. So if we break this 23.2 range, our next support is going to be the VRVP right here, this high volume node at about 23,000. We may bounce around, get back up into this, you know, 23.3 range, somewhere in there. But I do believe eventually we're going to break this. And then my next target is between 22 and 22,250, somewhere in this range. Once we break that, then we start looking for the 18. Now, if we get a bounce here and continue on up, you know, then we got to look at the top of this rising broadening wedge. But even if we did get up here, right, rising broadening wedges are bearish. If we break above this, get support, then we might start looking for, you know, higher highs. But keep an eye on this area and these right here, 22.1, 22.2. If this breaks, we're looking for, you know, 17 to 18,000 range. Probably get a bounce there, of course. But I do think in March there's a good possibility we see new lows. Could bleed into April. Maybe we don't see it till then. But remember, even if, you know, I'm wrong about the macro bottom in the end of the year, I still think we're getting the lower lows, 75 to 9,500. Either way, even if that is the false bottom, would be a great place to get into some longs, or just get into a position, maybe take profits on the way up, because there's still a good possibility we come down and break that. Why do I say that? Because all bear markets like this, bubble pops, have big bear rallies to get everyone bullish. It's exit liquidity, to obviously, so the big boys can sell more. If they sold them all at once, the price would just drop, right? They got to let people get bullish, start buying and stuff, so they have buys to sell into, right? We talked about this all year, and here's that invalidation point, 25.8. If we open and close, now that doesn't mean we can't wick above it. If we open and close a weekly, right? Open and close a weekly above this, then I'll consider possibly the bottom was in here. But until then, still bearish, guys. Looking at the Nintendo bubble pop, same type thing, right? These bubble pop patterns, they always come back down towards the median, right? They always come back down into these ranges. And look where Bitcoin's at. So we're most definitely going to hit back into these ranges, right? According to the chart patterns, the data, right? Nintendo, same thing. We had this big rally, right? This was 65% rally, just like we had here in Bitcoin. And then what happened? Just bounces. Of course, there were bounces where people got bullish all the way down. It doesn't go in one straight line. And then we made new lows, right? So if that was to happen, that would be around 7,600 if it went the same percentage, same timing and stuff as Nintendo did. And that would be sometime in September, October. Let's look at Sony. Sony, same thing. You see the big rally right here. This one was 85%, only to make lower low. And it even came up to make a few lower lows after that, right? After this big rally. But nevertheless, it came down to the median, all the way back down to here where everything started, right? Just like Nintendo, all of them, they all come back down to the median, guys. Once a bubble pops, they have to wash out all the scams, and all that money that comes out of all the crap goes right back into the real stuff later on. And then you have, you know, bull markets. It's been 15 years since Nintendo's top, and it still hasn't hit its new all-time high. It's over 20 years since Sony bubble popped, and it hasn't hit its new all-time high. Amazon took 10 years to hit its new all-time high. Now, before we get into Binance, guys, check out my wife's webpage, anchorimage.com. Link is also down below. Oh, don't forget, smash the likes, guys. I always forget to tell you guys that, and people forget to do it. So make sure you smash those likes. Leave your comments down below. Also, share the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, as you guys can see, here's the FTX chart, same type pattern playing out in Binance. I do think Binance, within the next few months, is going to have a massive drop. I'm not saying today, I'm not saying tomorrow, in the next few months, unless we can break up, you know, above this 400 range or something crazy. But I see nothing but bad news here for Binance, BNB coin, right? I don't think it's much. People are saying it's not the same as FTT, but I believe it's being used in the same way this was being used, even on a bigger scale. So just be careful. That could be the catalyst for the collapse and the next low for Bitcoin. So be careful out there. I love you guys. Make sure you trade safe if you're trading, and just always take into consideration both directions, right? I don't talk much about the bullish direction because, for one, I don't think we are bullish right now. And for two, everybody else is talking about it. I'm giving you a different view. Take it easy, guys. Have an awesome day. Here's those videos I said. Here's the Prime XBT tutorial. And here is the .com bubble pop pattern. Amazon compared to Bitcoin chart. Take it easy, guys. I'm out.